I was in Scotland that day actually, the bomb. A couple of ones was killed in that. Stanley McComb's wife, they were at home early on the Sunday morning then, about 9 o'clock on the Sunday morning.
Did you know Stanley McComb's wife well?
I did very well,
What sort of woman was she?
Very good, very nice woman. I knew Stanley very well for playing the band along with him. Like, like pipe band championships there. We used to go to Scotland every year, like, played in the band along with Stanley. And he was there that day, like, and I had to come home early, like. Just one of them things, like.
And the majority of us moved on, but there's so many personal tragedies within that. They'll never move on. They'll still have their memories.
Yeah.
But in general, people don't talk about the bomb as much.
Yeah.
It's just time lapse. Things go on like that, and that's the way I can see it anyway at the minute. I always have it in my mind. But I tell you what I have found. I found that when I leave Ireland or when I go abroad or anything like that, and they say, where are you from? I say, Omagh. I'm sure you've heard of it. No, especially America. I thought people would know it. No, hadn't a clue. Australia, same thing.
Yeah.
I found that kind of unconsciousness of it. People just don't know. They've forgotten if they ever heard of it in the first place. See, we think it's such a huge tragedy for us. We think that it was, you're bound to have heard it. You're bound to have heard all about it and all the Omagh. But no. A lot of people have perhaps blocked it out of their mind, blanked it. And it's easier to blank it than it is to talk about it, maybe. It shouldn't be like that, but there you are. It affected an awful lot of people. You're talking about maybe 1,000 to 1,500 people and personally between family and personal injuries, 300 and something injured, as well as the deaths and their families and all that there. And I think that's an awful lot of disaster for people to dwell on. So maybe they're either blanking it out or they want to forget it. Well, I knew at least 15 of them
that died
personally, yeah. And then Geraldine Breslin and young Gallagher, all of them really, all the ones that you hear mentioned all the time you hear. But I was up in Cannondale, which is up at a wake actually, and when I came back down, the bomb had just gone off, and I said to the wife, she says, there's a bomb in the town. I said, I know, but the place is cordoned off. And I said, I think that's probably a controlled explosion. No, we'll take a look. She says it's not. So we looked out, we could see the smoke coming up. So that was it. But my great-grandchild, I was to take her down the town that morning when she was late. It was my grandchild, she didn't arrive till late, so went to the wake instead.
I would say it's bound to be a running sore with those that were affected by the bomb. Of course, we felt very sympathetic to the people, But
we would have known many of the people, quite a few of the people involved who were seriously injured, and therefore there was obviously the sorrow of their coping with that, and even today many of them are still trying to come to terms with the consequences of what happened. I know we've been encouraged to move on, but it's very difficult for people who are in that situation to do so.
I like the memorial, and I'm sure it keeps it in your mind, I suppose.
Well, for our generation obviously, it's important because we don't want to forget what happened. Look to the future, we have to, but that's for the next generation.
Well, my daughter was in it, but she wasn't seriously injured, but she still has. She doesn't even like to be down the town on that date even, and she still has. Still affects her. So that's kind of what I would know about it.
Would it affect you?
Well, through her it does, and it does. I mean, people that's gone that you didn't know well. My best friend's sister was killed, and just things like that. You don't forget them things, So
people still talk about it, and they hold a memorial every year. And no, it's don't think they'll ever forget it.
No, definitely not.
Omagh would be a sort of a town that probably has never recovered from the legacy of the bomb, and there would be there'd be a sort of a feeling with a lot of locals that the bombers haven't been brought to justice, and the town is sort of split because a lot of people because it was such a massive explosion. Like even myself, I had four myself and three of my brothers in the town at the same time, and none of us were injured. So there's a lot of people have that, what would you say, a regret or almost have cheated their way through it. And then this debacle of a statue that they put up down here, you know, and then you're standing there with French visitors or somebody like that, foreigners, and they're looking at the statue and they're wondering what it's about, and they put the plaque on the wall behind. Little stupid things like that, and all this waste of money that they put over at the garden with these daft, like a Jodrell Bank or NASA things on it. A lot of people have that sort of regrets about the Omagh bomb, really, and I don't think it has ever been fulfilled, you know, because a lot of people would have regrets that Omagh has just been another tragedy in the long history of the Troubles. Yeah. And you had all these people like Tony Blair and the big man himself, Clinton. Everybody come over and made these promises that leave no stone unturned. And you can see the way there's always been this feeling that there has been a deal done behind it, or there's been some sort of a collusion, that like the PSNI evidence was corrupted, things like that. And like, I'm not coming from any specific Catholic or Protestant background. I'm just saying that would be a feeling with a lot of people, that these guys can't be brought to justice. I would have had a lot of friends. I would have had an art teacher at school that taught me at school, and then his wife was killed, Lawrence Rush. And another good friend of mine grew up with Geraldine McChrystal. She was killed, and knew loads and loads of friends, and actually people that you would be in and out of shops every day that were just obliterated in the bomb. A gentleman that helped put up some beams in the house when we moved in. Our housewarming party was the night of the Omagh bomb, and he was actually over very close to the car when it went off. So you can imagine what happened there. And there was a nervousness forever after it, where people that went down around that area where there has been a bomb. Is there going to be another one? Why did it happen? You know, there's so many unanswered questions in it.